So as I mentioned, if I didn't think that I could let it go, I would talk about it. And so I've got a couple of stories to share regarding the subject matter. Early on in following Jesus, I followed him to a drug and alcohol rehabilitation center here in Northwest Arkansas. It's called Decision Point. And there, we started basically a little church service, and I just helped. I just participated in the events of providing what we would just call a church service for the individuals there. And so they are trying to recover from their drug or alcohol addictions. And so, I never partaking of alcohol as an underage individual, not being raised in church, but just being raised the effects that alcohol could have. I avoided it, and then participating even after I was 21 years old. With this ministry, I felt it was important to not partake so as to cause somebody to possibly stumble. If they saw me out in public, drinking, when they're struggling with it, I thought it might lead to their downfall. Not that I would be with these people socially, hanging out with them and being around them, which would probably have been better. But I was just concerned that they may see me and then somehow they would fall into this. Well, we know that the drunkenness itself is where the sin lies. It's not in drinking at all. Jesus made water into wine. It's not about that. It's about overindulgence, just like anything. For all things are permissible, right? So here I need to add that I went on a mission trip, and the country was Romania. And up until this point, again, just still not drank anything, and kind of had an unspoken vow, if you will, to just not drink because it could be constituted sinful, or just name one of those 50 reasons, right? It could just one of these bad things. But then I saw the effects of not drinking alcohol. I saw it twice. Once was in China and once is Romania. I'm going to share the Romanian story because it's the one that touched my heart in a couple different ways. We went with translators to villages in Romania to talk to them about Jesus. We wanted to preach the gospel and share that. It was on an IMDb mission trip. And when we went to groups, and one particular individual had grown his own grapes. He had produced his own wine, and he was very excited to have an American try it. Well, I can tell you I would have been the wrong person to have try any alcohol since I don't drink and never really had drank anything, ever. Cough syrup, I guess, would be the closest thing. So that being the case, I refused. I told him I could not. And he seemed, kind of sad and thought, okay, well, maybe some coffee. And so I tried some coffee. It was horrible. But I tried it, to be nice. But he really wanted me to try his homemade wine. And so I just saw the look of hurt, and we lost fellowship there. And the lesson doesn't end there. Later on that day, we're back at the hotel, sitting outside, me and it turns out it was the pastor's daughter. We're just talking, and a guy walks up, a Romanian. He sees us, and he says, hi. And we have no translator, no way of communicating. And this is when George Bush was president. And so he says, America? And I said, yeah, America. And he yells back, George Bush. And I said, yeah, George Bush. And he just smiles, and he's got a huge bag of some bottle of something, right? Some sort of alcohol. And he wants to drink with me. I thought, oh, man, here we are again. It's like, I don't drink. I'm sorry, but I can't tell him anything. I can't refuse with words. I have to just be like, no, get away type thing. And I couldn't do that because, again, the translation was just, it wasn't there. So the pastor's daughter begins to say, hey, listen, my friend here, he can't drink because of a medical condition, and he could get sick because of this, and it would hurt him. And I looked over, and I was like, that's not the case. I said, no, and I realized at that moment, I'm just going to need to drink so that way he can have this one-time fellowship with an American, because you go to a lot of foreign countries and you're like a rock star in some instances. So I said, one drink. And she looked at me with eyes wide open, like, why would you do this? And I said, no, I'm just going to pretend. And I don't even know why I was mumbling to her the word pretend. He can't understand. And I just said, well, I'm just going to pretend this, okay? And so I took this big bottle, and I put it to my lips just to pretend to lift it up and drink. And as I got my other hand to hold it, because, again, very big bottle, I realized at that moment it was not metal. It was not glass. It was clear plastic. and I squeezed that thing, and this alcohol just poured all over my body. I still don't think I drank any, but I was covered in alcohol. And he started laughing. He was like, "Yeah, yeah," and he was terribly excited. And and the pastor's daughter would not even walk into the hotel with me because I reeked of alcohol. She didn't want to be associated with that. And I just thought, how legalistic does a person need to be? And so my question then is where do we draw the line? Where is it that we say to ourselves, hey, this is it. This is where we draw the line. When do we tell people that would listen to us preach and say, hey, drink or don't drink? Can we use those words and say that all things are permissible but maybe not beneficial, just so long as you're not mastered by anything? Isn't that the idea of drunkenness, not being drunk with wine and drinking too much? Or do we just say, no, I can't do it at all? Is it based on our faith, our individual faith? So I pose that question to you because my views were changed on it, and I don't believe that I've waffled at all in between or vacillated between yes or no. I think that I've been on a journey regarding the subject, and I'm curious to see what you guys think.